Coming Out Podcast, just a man doing the best he can with what he got. And let's talk about something uncomfortable. People make a lot of money off Black trauma. Not just telling our stories, not just documenting what we've been through. I'm talking about building whole brands, whole platforms, whole businesses around our pain, our family wounds, our lack of opportunity, our lack of money, our lack of access, our lack of education. And then they sell us the cure. And the cure is always simple. It's always a simple fix. Black men need to do this. Black women need to do that. The community needs to fix itself. If you're broke, it's your mindset. If you're single, it's your standards. If your life is hard, it's because you did not follow my formula. And that's where the problem starts. Because experience is valuable. Experience can teach you. I believe that. But experience is not the same thing as expertise. Like being hurt before doesn't make you a therapist. Being divorced does not automatically make you a relationship expert. Like being successful in one lane does not mean you can build a whole psychological framework for everyone else's life. There's more than one way to do these things. And that's how you get people like Steve Harvey, who become like the face of relationship advice. Now, I'm not saying Steve Harvey hasn't learned anything. I'm saying if you're going to present yourself like you have the blueprint to everybody's relationship, people have the right to ask what qualifies you beyond fame, charisma, and a microphone. Same with Kevin Samuels. He built a whole lane rating women, talking about relationships, marriage value, and high value men. All that. But again, we have to ask, is this expertise or is this entertainment dressed up like expertise? And that brings me to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Recently, she got caught in a backlash after admitting publicly that she's not currently practicing under a therapy license. Like reporting from TMZ says, the controversy grew as she stated on Joe Budden's podcast that she doesn't have a license to practice therapy, which led people to start questioning her education and qualifications more broadly. Now, according to her own biography, Bryant says she earned her doctorate in counseling and psychology from uh, Argosy University. That's important because Argosy University later shut down in March 2019. And the American Psychological Association documented the closure and its impact on its students, faculty, staff, and alumni. Let's just be fair. A school closing does not automatically mean that every degree from that school is fake. It doesn't mean that. That's not what I'm saying. Online degrees are real. And a lot of people use online schools to pursue higher education goals. So I'm not discrediting her because she went to an online university. Like non-traditional paths are real. Schools close all the time. Yeah, records get messy. People get caught in the system they did not create all the damn time. So I'm not faulting her for that. But here's the issue. When you build your brand around authority, healing, psychology, therapy language, and community leaderships, credentials matter. I need to be able to look you up. They matter because people are not just buying a book, they're trusting you with trauma. They are trusting you with relationships. They are trusting you with childhood wounds, abandonment issues, shame, grief, abuse, and mental health. And if you're going to stand in front of the Black community and speak with clinical authority, then people have the right to ask you, where is the license? Where is the verification? What exactly are you claiming to be? Because once again, if you're just doing this for entertainment purposes, just say that. Say, these are my opinions. And I'd be totally okay with that. There's a difference between saying I'm a life coach and presenting yourself in a way that makes people believe that they are receiving therapy. They're just different. There's a difference between saying I have experience and I have clinical training. There's a difference between I can motivate you and I am qualified to treat you. Two totally different things. And this matters even more in the Black community because we already have real barriers to mental health. The HHS data shows Black African American adults were 36% less likely than US adults overall to receive mental health treatment in 2024. There's already a gap between us getting our mental health. And I'm gonna be honest, man, most Black folks get their mental health from church. Like, church is where they get most of their therapy. There's a gap in us getting clinical expertise in our mental health. So when somebody comes along speaking our language, understanding our culture, dressing their advice up in confidence, a lot of people are going to listen. And I get why. A lot of Black people have had bad experiences with therapists who don't understand Black life. A license does not automatically mean that you are culturally competent. That's a real problem too. But the answer to that cannot be forget credentials altogether. The answer has to be give us cultural competence, care, and real accountability. So if you're claiming to be a therapist, I have a right to ask for your license. When I went to therapy, I looked for a licensed therapist. Older Black lady from the Caribbean, wonderful therapist. But I made sure I asked for a license first. Because licensing is not just about billing insurance. Licensing is also about ethics. It's about standards. It's about supervision. It's about having a board that can discipline you if you harm people. And it's about the public having somewhere to go if you do something wrong. If you're not licensed, who's going to hold you accountable? Right? That's why lawyers have the bar. There needs to be a board of accountability, and that matters. And that's why this conversation matters. Because Black people get exploited from both ends. Like, from the outside, you get people who don't care about us consistently talking about Chicago, crime, welfare, guns, fatherless homes, using Black pain as political talking points. Then from inside the community, you get another industry saying, here's what's wrong with y'all. And for $49.99, I can tell you how to fix it. Everybody has a diagnosis for Black people. Everybody has a program. Everybody has a course. Everybody has a book. Everybody has a retreat. Everybody has a master class, but nobody has training. Not everybody is accountable. There's no accountability for us, man. Not everybody has receipts. And that's where I get irritated. Because one of the biggest accomplishments in my life, personally, was graduating from the University of Tennessee in Martin and getting my bachelor's degree. Now, some of y'all might say, man, that's just a bachelor's degree. But for me, as a high school dropout who got a GED and went back to college, that meant something, man. That meant something. That was an accomplishment for me. That was proof that my path wasn't over. That was proof that a crooked road can lead somewhere. And here's the thing. If somebody asks me, I can verify it. I can go pull out my degree. If I lose my degree, I can call the University of Tennessee at Martin and be like, hey, man, Send me another degree. I can get a transcript. The same with my IT certifications. If you ask me, hey man, prove that you're certified in Cloud Plus, man, I can pull out my certification card. I can prove this, man, because credentials are not everything. But when you claim them, they need to be real. And if you're claiming something, I have a right to ask you to prove it. Now, if you're using those credentials to gain trust, especially from people who already are vulnerable, then the burden should be higher, in my opinion. Now, my larger point is not about Cheyenne Bryant. It really isn't. It's bigger than her. It's about why we keep putting too much stock in one person with a microphone. Now, I know that sounds ironic, me right now with a microphone saying that into a podcast. Like, but why are we letting one guru tell us how to love? Why are we letting one influencer tell us how to heal? Why are we letting one personality tell us what Black men are, what Black women are, what Black families need, what success looks like, what masculinity is, what femininity is, what trauma means? No one person has the blueprint. No one person has all the answers. There's more than one way to do everything. When I look at like all these influences, when I look at Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, when I look at Dr. Umar, when I look at John Hope Bryant, I'm like, okay, cool. That is one way to do this. That doesn't mean that is the way. That is one way. And as a Black man in the community, I want multiple paths because I'm just trying to get to 4. It may be 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. It may be 2 + 2. It may be 5 - 1. But damn it, we all trying to get to 4. How can you get me to 4? That's what I want people to understand. Like, my path was crooked, backwards, forward, up, down, sideways, but it still led somewhere. Education helped me, but education is not the only path. Therapy can help people, but not every therapist is good. Life coaching can help some people, but it's not a replacement for mental health treatment. And my homie Mega says in Japan all the time, anybody qualified to be a life coach probably wouldn't do it. Like Warren Buffett ain't getting clients. Like, hey, Warren Buffett, show me how to coach my life, Warren Buffett. He's not doing it, right? Anybody qualified probably is not going to be a life coach. Religion helps some people. Fitness helps some people. Trade schools help some people. Entrepreneurship helps some people. The military helps some people. Art helps some people. We need options, not one formula, not a guru, not one loud voice telling the entire Black community, this is the way. Because what works for you may not work for everybody. I'm very cautious about telling my story and telling people, hey, man, this is how you're supposed to do it. Hopefully you find a better way than I found. I'm not telling you my way is your way. And anybody who tells you the answer, honestly, man, push back, push back. And if your advice only works for people who already have money, time, emotional stability, and a support system, then it's not scalable. It's just content. It's just a content creator. And that's the real issue. A lot of this stuff is just formative. And I know that sounds funny coming from somebody who's talking on the podcast, but everything cannot be a performance. At some point, there has to be substance. At some point, there has to be humility. At some point, there has to be, this is what I know. This is what I don't know. And this is where you should go get professional help. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't have the answer. I can give you my opinion, and I'm quick to tell you these are my thoughts, these are my opinions, but I don't have the answer. Find your own way. Find your own way. Because once again, there's more than one way to do this. So my takeaway from this whole Dr. Cheyenne Bryan situation is simple. Man, stop worshiping titles, but also stop pretending titles don't matter. Ask questions, check credentials, get multiple sources of information, and don't let anybody turn your trauma into their business model without accountability. Because Black people do not need another guru. We need options. We need truth. We need care. And we need people who are honest enough to say, hey, man, I can help you with this part, but I'm not qualified to handle everything. That's totally okay. Just something to think about.